what these two guys have prepared. Okay, that is a card I was expecting to see, to be fair, in this event.
We're going to see a lot of it in this this weekend. Maxi as part of the draw phase. Now, that's an interesting choice, right? I would think like maybe before the last set, you could go activating it to play around something like Kashtira Fenrir, who's now limited. So do you think there's a reason why it's good in the draw phase?
There's some dangers when it comes to doing it because of cards like Cyframe Gear Gamma, but at the same time, I mean, Diabellstar, the Black Witch, is probably the main reason why we're doing it in the draw phase here, because that card also does not start a chain when you summon it from the hand. So in that way, you want to play around that, I suppose.
Yeah, so Fire Formation Tenki does not search Snake Eye Poplar. It is, in fact, going to get Tri-Brigade Fractal. That's a throwback.
Yeah, and there we go. This is already a deck that is not really, or was not really on my radar. We're seeing Tri-Brigade, a deck that is very commonly also being like mixed in with other strategies, so we're going to have to wait and see. And we've just decided to open Maxi and Ash Blossom. That's a pretty good decision when you're going second for Team Italy here.
Now, the interesting thing about opening Maxi and multiple disruptions is, like, how far do you let your opponent go before you use those disruptions? Do you use it immediately and basically, you know, you risk having no actual gain from the Maxi, or...? It's
slightly awkward here because, I mean, we've thrown the Maxi and now we're potentially blocking them out of even special summoning with this Ash Blossom. Like, if they don't have another way,
Oh, wow.
The Maxi, I mean, the Maxi looked very intimidating, but it looks like we're just not giving them a single card here, so... Team Italy now just operating on 4 cards, and if Team France has some disruption on their own, that might be enough to stop them. We'll see.
Yeah, so the good thing about this deck is that recently some of the Zodiac cards were brought back on the Forbidden Limited list, right?
Yeah.
So we got the Barrages have been returning. So that's like kind of like one of the cool things that you can do here. And okay, we are bringing out the Snake Eye deck immediately. 1-for-1 discard for cost, remember.
Yeah.
Do we have something on this? Doesn't look like it. Okay.
It's an interesting way to start the game as well, because we saw that this card Poplar, which is technically already a normal summon that you have, able to chain block this Ash Blossom, this Snake Eye Ash. I keep mixing up Ash Blossom and Snake Eye Ash.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be something that
is going to be something we'll have to deal with for a while.
I think they've done that to us on purpose.
No, they wanted us to be confused about that. Yeah.
All right, so Snake Eye Ash is going to be hit with an Infinite Impermanence.
That is one of the better ways to deal with it, because if you're using an Ash Blossom on the Snake Eye...
Okay.
I was about to say, negating its effect entirely is more valuable than just using an Ash Blossom on it, because then you also prevent the tag out.
Yeah.
In the case of a Crossout Designator, obviously, none of that matters, and the Snake Eye Ash is just going to go through.
Crossout Ash Maxi 1-for-1 discard is a really nice opening, isn't it?
That is one way to start this Invitational for Team Italy, I must say, yeah.
So Snake Eye is obviously one of the kind of popular decks right now in the TCG, right? In fact, we saw recently at the YCS Costa Rica, it was taking over 80% of top cut spot between Pure and Fire King.
Yes.
One of the major differences, obviously, is that Master does not have the Fire King variant of the deck here.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the key component differences between the Pure versions of TCG and Master Duel?
So the Pure versions are really similar to each other. Obviously, you have to cater to Maxi being in the game in Master Duel as well. So like you're seeing cards like Called by the Grave, Crossout Designator, which are options obviously in the physical card game. Like you consider them to play around all sorts of interruptions from your opponent, but in Master Duel, since Maxi is a thing, I would expect them to see in most lists. In general, the deck is just the pure version of the deck is pretty powerful. It's sacrificing some sort of diversity in its lines, you know, like you have some extra options if you play the Fire King cards in the trading card game, but then obviously if you're playing the pure version, you have some more room for some of these neat little tech cards that we're seeing, like Crossout Designator.
And here we have the tag out. First of all, coming is the Snake Eyes Flamberge Dragon, which some of you might be able to take a look at this card and see some references. 30 attack, 25 defense. Snake Eyes Dragon, right? You know, it's a mirror of quite a iconic monster here.
And it is quite iconic for the deck as well. Like I would argue, even though Poplar just came out and is like the big deal on everyone's minds, I would say Snake Eyes Flamberge Dragon is playing a huge role in why this deck is so powerful because of its multitude of different and really good effects.
Yeah, I mean, the ability to like have problematic alt removal just by scaling monsters is really, really good.
It does so much, yeah.
And the the reborn effect is also extremely powerful, giving you so much extra bodies.
I think the most notable thing or the most relevant thing about the card is that you are so often able to use the effects on both players' turns. It's not just a thing that you get a lot of advantage on your own first turn, but then you get to use it again on the opponent's turn because you keep it around.
And one of the uses of Flamberge in comparison, in tandem with the field spell, is you see a lot of people like trying to use it as a way to play around things like Nibiru.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be maybe potentially one of the key factors this weekend to see which teams can really like, use their Flamberge revives correctly. Because I think like sometimes you might risk playing a bit too hard into Disruption if you use your Flamberge early.
Nibiru, the Primal Being, is a deck that the Snake Eye deck can't really avoid getting hit by because it just simply doesn't have a way to negate that card. And it also does not really have a feasible way to play with less summons. Like it's the combos just involve special summoning a lot of the little Snake Eyes and then turning them into bigger Link monsters. So you don't really get to play under 5 summons, but there's ways how you can make the Nibiru as awkward as possible for the opponent and play around it essentially. For example, by putting up the field spell, which lets you summon a monster from your spell and trap zone if your opponent special summons.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see which other Snake Eye cards, the spells and traps specifically, the Poplar targets outside of just the field spell and the original Sin.
I am a big fan of the Sinful Swells of Silvera.
Yep, the trap card.
The trap card, because it lets you, like, it provides a relatively easy to access disruption when you are under something like a Maxi. However, here we've used the Promethean Princess to bring back the Flamberge Dragon after making a Hida, which is just so many extra bodies we get, and this is in fact over 8,000 if there is no response from Team France.
Yeah, as we hit the final blow incoming, just as it connects indeed. Wow,
and
Team
we're
France.
doing it with the Flamberge Dragon, and the Tri-Brigade deck was not able to take down the Snake Eye deck, our favorite in this first match, even though they were able to go first. However, you got to give it to them. It was a pretty rough opener in terms of, like, I mean, facing Maxi, Ash Blossom, Crossout Designator, and the Amines to combo, right, is something that even any deck would struggle with that sort of opener, honestly.
Yeah, and I think it shouldn't be understated just how I suppose like the consistency of Snake Eye and Macedo can be really can feel really quite rough right now, especially without Bonfire.
Right.
Is the main important thing, I'd say, right? I think I saw you playing Where Art Thou as a pseudo replacement.
That was in my initial first build of the deck. Yeah, I was using Where Art Thou to access the level 1 monsters at first. But maybe the winners of round 1 can tell us a little bit about why they picked Snake Eye and maybe some intricacies about their deck in the winners interview for round number 1. We are ready, so let's head on over to Ed.
Oh, are we on as well? We're ready for our interview. So, I am here with the guys who have just won Team Italy, winning our first round. Guys, how are you feeling? Kicking off to a good start?
Yeah, it was a pretty good start. I mean, for Antraps, Crossout.
So how do you feel with playing Snake Eyes? Because at the moment, it's a very popular deck. Everyone seems to be playing it. It's very common. Huh?
Very popular deck.
Very good. I should see. Maybe you should be hosting this, Diego. You know, if coming up with kind of puns like that, Snake Eye puns. I'm going to steal that, by the way, for all my future coverage. But what is it that you guys like about it? And do you two work quite well synergizing with it?
Yeah, I think that we were like really, really aligned. We were like thinking about the same lines. Everything was going smooth. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it was a very linear game. We kind of figured out to win very easily, very cool, in a way cool. Just like taking their monster and finish them with their fractal. It was, I mean, a good plan.
Did you see the struggle?
Of course. I mean, we were watching the whole thing from the stands back there.
We were trying to count the damage. Like, but is it game? Is it game? I was like, yeah, it's game.
You were counting on your fingers, trying to figure it out. Well, this is a good start. Maybe you can finally take that win after last year's disappointment. But best of luck to you guys. Congratulations on this win. I will let you guys head off this way because we're now going to enter into our next game.